So they've stuck us here together, huh? I can't say I'm thrilled about the company. Some judgment, don't you think?
Judgment, right. I didn't expect anything, to be honest. I thought once it was over, that was it, just oblivion.
And you're disappointed? I mean, this isn't quite heaven, but there's something here. Though I can't imagine why they paired me with you.
Maybe it's punishment, forced to face each other, ourselves.
Oh, don't try to sound insightful, Jeff. You think they brought us here to reflect, to regret? This isn't a therapy session.
I never wanted this, not like you.
Not like me, that's rich. So how exactly did you want it? Enlighten me.
I don't know. I just wanted to feel something, anything. I thought that if they stayed, maybe I'd feel normal. I know that sounds strange.
Normal. You're kidding yourself. People like us, we're wired differently. The sooner you realize that, the better.
Maybe. I was alone for so long. It wasn't about hurting anyone. Not at first. I wanted connection, but I didn't know how.
Connection. I'm afraid you're not doing a very good job selling that, Jeff. You wanted connection, so you took their lives? What's the logic there?
I didn't know how else to keep them. I was afraid of them leaving, of being alone again.
So, you chose compulsion over control. That's the difference, Jeff. I didn't lose control. I was in control. That's why I lasted longer. That's why they never saw me coming.
Maybe that's true, but you enjoyed it, didn't you?
That's the question everyone wants to ask, isn't it? Did I enjoy it? Well, let's just say there's a certain thrill, power, that sense of superiority, the knowledge that they were all at my mercy, and they had no idea, not until the end.
I never felt that. I don't think I ever felt in control. It was like something else took over, something dark.
That's the difference between us. You were ruled by your impulses. I commanded mine. You know, Jeff, I think it all comes down to knowing yourself, understanding what you are, what you want. Me, I always knew, from the beginning.
From the beginning? What, as a kid?
Maybe not as a kid, no. But there were signs, little things. I realized I was different, smarter, faster. It didn't take me long to realize that I was playing a different game. Other people just couldn't keep up.
I felt different too, but I didn't feel smarter, just wrong, like I was missing something everyone else had.
And there's the problem. You let that feeling rule you, turn you into some desperate thing. Me? I knew what I was capable of. I could blend in, make them believe I was one of them. In fact, I made them like me. I became exactly what they wanted to see.
I never wanted to hide, at least not at first. I just wanted someone who wouldn't leave.
So what, you thought if you kept them there you'd find peace? That you'd be happy?
I guess. Yeah, maybe I thought that.
How naive. Happiness, Jeff. Happiness is an illusion. Control. That's the only thing worth striving for.
But didn't you feel anything for them, the people you hurt?
Feelings are weaknesses. Emotions cloud judgment. If you start feeling for them, you're already losing.
I felt for them. I don't think I could stop that, even when I tried.
And look where that got you. It's why they found you out so quickly. You were practically begging to be caught, Jeff. If you'd really wanted to succeed, well, you could have learned a few things from me.
But that's just it, Ted. I didn't want to succeed. Toward the end, I just wanted it all to stop. I couldn't keep going.
Maybe, but that's why you're in purgatory, Jeff. You never knew what you wanted, not really. You wavered.
Maybe I did.
You did. That's what separates the powerful from the weak, the ability to see it through. I made the choice. You fell into it.
I think maybe you're overstating yourself a little, Ted. You were just as weak as I was.
Go on.
Well, I mean, your killings all stemmed from your obsession with your college girlfriend, did they not?
Oh, give me a break.
No, let me speak.
Go ahead.
Most of your victims had the same hairstyle, right?
Yeah, the ones in Seattle especially. You know, I'm not the first serial killer in history to have had a specific type, Jeff.
Okay, but your girlfriend Diane had the same type of hair, long, dark, and parted in the middle.
What's your point, Jeff?
Well, it seems to me that when you were killing your victims, in your mind you were really killing your ex-girlfriend.
That's hogwash.
You're not in open court now, Ted. You don't need to hide anything about yourself.
Look, you're reading too much into it. I killed because I enjoyed it.
I'm not disputing that. But when you talk about having power and being in control, well, I would argue that you never had power and you were never in control. Because your ex-girlfriend totally shattered whatever sense of power and control that you had.
Yeah. Well, guess what? It was I who broke up with her, Jeff. I was the one who ended that relationship.
Okay, let's talk about that a little.
I'd rather not.
Then maybe I'll go and see what John Wayne Gacy is getting up to.
Wait, just wait a minute. What is it you want to know? What are you so curious about?
I want to know why you broke things off with your girlfriend.
Because the relationship was going nowhere.
Going nowhere? The two of you had talked about getting married, had you not? Then you just abruptly stopped answering her calls and replying to her letters.
Yeah, okay, I could have let her down a little more gently, I guess.
I'm curious as to why you let her down at all, because I think you did genuinely love that woman.
Do you really think that love is an emotion I indulged in?
No, but that doesn't mean you weren't capable of falling in love.
We were in love at one point. At least I thought we were.
Then she broke things off with you, didn't she?
Correct.
Why do you think she did that?
Well, I don't have to speculate. She practically told me that I wasn't ambitious enough.
How did that make you feel? I'd imagine that you didn't feel powerful or in control for that matter.
Don't be a smart-ass, Dahmer. It's not becoming of you.
I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable, but I've been honest and forthright with you. I only ask that you extend me the same courtesy. Come on, tell us all how you felt when your girlfriend broke up with you.
I was heartbroken. There. Are you happy?
You were heartbroken. That means you were in love with this woman.
Yeah, okay, I loved her.
Right, but this is the part that I don't understand. You managed to win her back against all the odds, and then you broke up with her. What was your reason for doing that? Revenge for her dumping you the first time around?
Yeah, revenge. I wanted to get back at her. I wanted to hurt her the same way she had hurt me.
Okay, you're being a little more honest, but I still think you're holding something back. Come on, Ted.
I didn't think that I was good enough for her.
You didn't think you were good enough for her? Okay, I think there are a lot of guys out there who can relate to that. Why didn't you think you were good enough?
Well, for a start, she was from a well-to-do family, whereas I had grown up thinking that my mom was my sister, and that my grandparents were my biological parents. I still have absolutely no idea who my real father was.
And you felt stigmatized by that?
Well, yeah, who wouldn't?
She was smart too, your girlfriend.
Oh, very smart. She had brains to burn.
Was she smarter than you?
Smarter than me? The case could certainly be made.
How did you manage to win her back?
Well, we broke up in 1968, if I remember correctly. I would have been about 21 at this point. A few years later, we crossed paths once more, and by now I was working for the Republican Party in Washington State and attending law school. We went out for dinner, and Diane was blown away by the change in me. To her, I appeared to be focused, more mature, going places.
It was all a facade, though, wasn't it, Ted?
Yes, I was really struggling at law school. The classes just totally went over my head. Everybody else seemed to be smarter than me, which only added to my insecurity.
You were already a killer at this point, weren't you?
Yes. And after breaking up with Diane, the killings went into overdrive.
See, that's what I meant when I said that you were just as weak as I was. You had won Diane back. You could have hit the law books with a vengeance, knuckled down and made something of yourself. You could have just tried.
Why? So I could fail and bear the humiliation of Diane breaking up with me for a second time.
At least you would have known what it was like to have a genuine connection with another human being. You had the one thing that I personally craved my entire life.
But I didn't, Dahmer. You said it yourself. My going to law school, getting involved in politics. It was all a facade, not to mention the fact that I was already a cold-blooded killer. The person Diane was falling in love with didn't really exist.
Okay, fair point, I guess. Let's move on.
You know, people often speak of you and I in the same breath. Understandable, I guess. But we were two very different people, two very different killers.
Yet here we are, sharing a room in purgatory. God, I just had a horrible thought.
Pray tell.
Well, people usually go to purgatory before they go to heaven, right?
I'm not a scholar of religion, Dahmer, but yeah, that's my understanding.
Well, what if they're just keeping us here because there's no more room in hell? Because I really don't think either of us are going to be seeing the pearly gates anytime soon.
Then I guess we're going to be here for a while, aren't we?
You know, it's kind of funny. 1 minute I'm in a prison on earth, and the next I'm in purgatory, which is a kind of prison in itself.
I actually did a video recently describing my last day on earth, and if our listeners want to, they can find that on this channel. But as far as I'm aware, you haven't told us anything about your own demise, Jeff.
Well, okay. I guess my death was a lot different to yours. I escaped the death penalty by virtue of being a native of Wisconsin. You knew where, when, and how you were going to die. I wasn't afforded the same luxury.
Luxury? Are you kidding me, Dahmer? I languished on death row for almost a full decade before they brought me to Old Sparky. Do you know what that does to a man? To dangle a death sentence over him for that length of time. It's just cruel.
Cruel and unusual?
Oh, absolutely.
How ironic.
What's that?
I just think it's a little hypocritical that one of the most notorious serial killers of all time should have anti-capital punishment inclinations.
What did I say about being a smartass, Dahmer?
Just saying is all.
So, Jeff, how did it happen exactly? I've heard bits and pieces, but I want to hear it from you. What was it like? Your final day?
I knew it was coming, Ted. After a while, you start to feel the tension every time you walk into a room, every time they look at you. There was this one guy, Christopher Scarver. He made it clear what he thought of me right from the start.
Scarver, that's the one who did you in, isn't it? Seems like he made you his special project. So what happened? You just let him?
It wasn't like that. They had me on cleaning duty. Same as him. We were in the prison gym. Just me, Scarver, and this other guy, Jesse Anderson. We all knew each other by then. Knew what the others had done. But Scarver, he had a different look in his eyes that day.
And that didn't set off any alarm bells for you? A guy like him with a grudge? Come on, Jeff. You weren't thinking straight.
Maybe. But by that point, I didn't care much about the alarms. I was tired, Ted. Tired of the routine, tired of the stares. Every day felt the same, like I was trapped with nothing but my own thoughts. Scarver, he must have sensed that. He was pacing, muttering under his breath. I could feel him watching me. Scarver had this anger, like a fire in his eyes. He picked up a metal barbell, one of those long ones, from the equipment rack. Just looked at me, this intense look, like he'd been waiting for it all his life. And in that moment, I knew.
So you saw it coming and you just stood there? Didn't try to defend yourself? Didn't run?
No, I didn't run. There was nowhere to go. And I think part of me felt it was meant to happen. The guards weren't watching. They'd turned their backs, maybe on purpose. They left us alone, and Scarver saw his chance.
Of course they left. Why wouldn't they? Probably thought you had it coming, just like he did.
I didn't blame them. After all, everything I'd done, all the lives I'd taken, it was like justice in a way. Maybe not in the way people think of it, but Scarver, He was there to carry out something I couldn't do myself.
You think getting your skull bashed in by some lowlife with a barbell is justice? You sound almost grateful. That's not justice, Jeff. That's just a beatdown in a prison gym. A pathetic way to go.
I didn't fight him, Ted. I let him do it. He came at me with that bar, and the first hit, everything went black. But I remember the feeling right before it, like maybe this was what I deserved. All the people I'd hurt, all the things I did. Maybe Scarver was their messenger.
Listen to yourself. You actually believed you deserved it? That's weak, Jeff. You let him kill you because you couldn't handle the consequences of what you did? That's not justice. That's just rolling over and dying.
Maybe it was weak, but I didn't have the strength to keep going. Every day was like being buried alive. The memories, the nightmares, they'd started eating me from the inside. Every face, every life I took, they wouldn't let me go. When Scarver came at me, I thought maybe this was the end of it.
So you just gave up. Didn't even try to defend yourself. You let him decide how it ended. I don't get it, Jeff. You had years left, and you handed them to some prison thug with a grudge. You should have fought back. You should have made him earn it.
It wasn't just Scarver, Ted. It was everything. The anger, the shame, all the weight I'd been carrying. I thought I could live with it, but it grew. I wasn't like you. I didn't get a thrill out of the chase, out of the game. I wanted to feel something, but it just turned to emptiness. And when Scarver came at me, I thought maybe he was setting me free.
Free? You call that freedom? They locked you up like an animal, and you let them. That's not freedom. That's surrender. You actually believed you were paying for your sins. That's not what people like us do, Jeff. We don't sit around waiting for someone else's version of justice. We take control.
Maybe. No. But I think Scarver was looking for his own justice, too. He said something right before it happened, said, I know who you are. I know what you did. And in that moment, he had this look, like he thought he was doing the world a favor.
He probably thought he was some kind of hero. That's how they all see themselves, Jeff. A bunch of nobodies playing God. And you just let him, because you agreed with him.
I did. I looked at him, and for the first time, I saw what everyone else saw in me. I saw a monster. I didn't want to be that anymore. And if letting him take my life would give even one of those families some peace, then maybe that was worth it.
And you think they forgave you. You think lying down and taking it made any difference. They still see you as a monster, Jeff. They'll always see us that way.
I know. I didn't do it for forgiveness. I did it because I couldn't forgive myself. When Scarver swung that bar, I felt like I was finally paying for something. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but it meant something to me.
Pathetic. You spent your last moments feeling sorry for yourself, waiting for some thug to do what you were too weak to do. And you think that made a difference? All it did was give them another headline, another story to feed the machine. You let them define you.
Maybe, but for the first time, I felt something close to peace. And if that's weakness, then maybe I'm okay with that.
Peace? We're not here for peace, Jeff. We're here because we defied it. You're deluding yourself if you think that little beatdown in the gym was some kind of redemption.
Little beatdown? Your death was a lot more civilized than mine.
Well, we can talk about that another time, maybe. I think we'll leave it there for today, Dahmer. Thanks for talking to me.
No worries.
And to my listeners, join me next time when I'll be discussing the works of ancient Greek philosophy and their relevance in contemporary America. Just joking. I'll be chatting with Dennis Rader, otherwise known as the BTK Killer, By the way, there's an Irish guy up on Earth who would appreciate if you subscribe to this channel.